Hello traders, welcome to your technical market update for Wednesday the 25th of February 2015. Let's have a quick look at the market and see whether we can come up with some trading opportunities based on the fundamentals that we've had overnight. You've seen that the US dollar came off and we've seen currencies such as this New Zealand here on the daily chart have quite a rally. Now that support could continue on tonight and we could see the market now move up and test the 76.2 area, which we've spoken about before as being historical resistance level. I apologise, historical support level, which could now become resistance. So we're going to move up and test the next Fibonacci level, and we have some data coming out of New Zealand in the morning, so we need to be mindful of that. If that comes in stronger than expected, that could definitely push it up into this area. However, if it comes in weak, we could see a pullback. So we'll keep an eye on that as we move forward. The Australian dollar is still in that downtrend, but the weakness in the US dollar has sent the Australian dollar higher yesterday as well as throughout today's Australian session. Moving into the European session, we could see some further strength and we'll have to keep an eye on some resistance levels moving forward. If we pull a Fibonacci from the low to the high, we can see that we are about to test the Fib 50, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get some price action around this area. So we'll have to keep an eye on what's going on in the Australian dollar. If we do get a breakout of this downtrend line and we start to make some higher highs, we will then be able to consider taking some some long positions. But for now, I'm still not comfortable with it. I still don't believe the Australian economy is going as well as it currently looks on the chart. The pound, as was mentioned, is the superstar, and we do have here a rising market where we did have support and we've continued on throughout the Australian session, and we are now trading above $1.55. I think we can now start thinking about the trades moving towards $1.56, and our current position that we have on, we've already taken profit with 130 pips. I'm now looking to take profit at $1.55.900, and that will be our last profit taking up in this area here before we look for an alternative position on this pair. So the strength in the pound is set to continue, and you're likely to pick up some pips pairing it up against other weak currencies. The US dollar is currently the weakest, so we'll see some performance there, and we'll see what happens tonight out of the euro. If you have a look at the euro, it did have a rally and it did have a little bit of support here on the daily, but we are still within the trading range. That's purely because of we're starting to see people are noting and smart enough to figure out the recent reforms are just purely a patchwork solution to buy more time for Greece to get their act together. So they've got 4 more months of money and they can now continue on with negotiations and try to get a better outcome. That's why the market didn't start buying the euro. We didn't see euphoria kicking into the market because it actually wasn't. Them accepting the reforms wasn't an awesome result, but yes, it was much better than them rejecting it. We would have seen a breakout to the low side. If you have a look at the Canadian dollar, as I mentioned, that was a surprise in the market, was their governor crushed any expectations of a March rate cut, and we've seen it pull back away. We were originally looking at a downwards flag here, and then the market broke above it, but as we noted, there was some data coming out, and the data in fact surprised the market significantly, and we're now pulling back to potentially come back and test the $1.23.5, the support area. And depending on what happens with US dollar and oil over the next few trading sessions, we could see it actually break this support as US dollar weakens, and we could see a bounce in oil. The US dollar JAP had a pullback due to the weakness of the US dollar overnight with Yellen's speech, and she's speaking again tonight. However, we still haven't taken out the lows, and we could see some support kick back in if tonight's speech is a little bit more hawkish than the market was anticipating. We'll keep an eye on this. I'm still not a bear on this trade, and I think holding our position is still a worthwhile result. We took profit last night just before the news, and I'm glad that we did, and then we re-entered back in the market as it pulled back a little bit. So if we do get a bounce, I may look to take profit given the news wasn't as bullish as everybody expected, so therefore I don't expect a massive US dollar rally in the coming sessions. And we may just take profit on our equity and look to use it elsewhere in a much smarter opportunity. If we have a look at the euro versus the Great British Pound, we could see that the euro could stall in its rally and the Great British Pound's rally could continue, making that the euro would be definitely weaker than the pound. And this makes sense on a fundamental aspect as well. So I am keeping an eye out for a potential trade for this currency pair running down to test the 73-cent range. Other than that, I haven't got too many trading opportunities tonight. The data is thin and it's all speech driven and it's very hard to predict. So you're better off trading dynamically with the news as it comes out and as the people are expecting it. And we'll have a quick look here at oil, and as you can see, it's just tested the historical support, which once again was resistance, and it hasn't broken through that. If we get a bounce on that, we could see that the support within the US CAD could actually fail. Hopefully that's given you some insight for today. I've been doing some videos on a new opportunity coming up, and I'll be releasing those soon, so make sure you stay tuned. And until tomorrow, trade well.